Hello and welcome to Library Salad. Today's episode is It's Never Too Early to Get Ready for Halloween and the Fall. And this is brought to you by the Monroeville Public Library in Pennsylvania. Hi, I'm Princess Leia. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about both the season and what's considered a holiday now, Halloween. There's a lot of things that you can simply do with things that you may have or easily from dollar store, thrift stores. And one of my fun finds recently, these pair of shoes. It's actually two of them. No, they're not from my private collection, but let's take a look at what, very quickly, we can make it into a classic Halloween decoration. Now, simply, we've got one of these Halloween picks from the craft store. That's going to go in like this. Orange Christmas ornament. I'm going to bring this up a little. You can use hot glue, but right now we're just going to go quickly on this. A simple bow right in here to bring it together. You can even add a hand like that. Give yourself a hand. And that's it. That's it. Look how quick and easy it is on something really cheap. And next, pumpkins seem to be going to be difficult to find, especially the foam ones in the craft stores. Not only are they seem to have less, they seem to be more expensive. So, easy way to go is, I've had this pumpkin for a couple of years. What I decided to do was take off just the stem, and before you go on to make something else with it, you can cover it with anything, any sort of fabric, depending on what colors you want, what styles you want. This is just a simple hat. To get more of a texture with the pumpkin, if you simply go like this, insert it in, get your glue gun, just simply fold and glue like that. I'm gonna put the stem back on. You can even do something with a little more color around the sides. That's the way just to turn around. You can use any sort of fabric that could even be something more of a winter or holiday effect. But what we're also going to do this year, topiaries are hot and they also are very pricey. So you can make a topiary that can simply sit flat down, or you can elevate it up. Just like if I take this, take off the everyday candle and bring this up, I can add more. This was just another cheap one. Took the stem off that, brought it, that can go over here. Got another one I had around, that can go up here. Obviously with glue you can get a little more aligned. And then if you just add a couple of things like whoops, I knew that was gonna happen. Pictured better with glue. But if we have it here, we're adding a couple of leaves, then we're putting it on, then we've got something a little more, add something like this, stick that on top, and that's when we bring it up and voila. Easy, quick. And next is, you wouldn't believe, but something as simple as these are very difficult to get. This happened to be the last one in $2 stores that I went. Last one, because they're being painted with acrylic paint in layers. Your oranges and your yellows, a little bit of black, a little bit of brown, and it really elevates it much higher. And now we're going to talk lanterns. So many people have these lanterns and they look great simply that way for day to day. But when you come around the holidays, there's a couple of simple things you can do to certainly enhance it. Now, this basic bow, you can just add that to the top like that. The leaves will give a really nice touch. And some of these you find that they're bent and things like that. I just did a little glue gun fix over here so that it stays upright. You can then add that instead, to look like that, if you want a little bit more of a fancy bow and you want to do something in layers, best way for the multi-layer bow is to just take the fabric and roll it like this, usually around 3 times, but then when you get it like this, cut here, cut there, not all the way through. Put your next bow, same thing, a little smaller or then a little bigger, cut through. So this, when you have those cuts, a pipe cleaner around it or another piece of fabric for people will allow it to go in like this, and then you can pull it through just like this, and that can go up as a little bit more. Throw this over here, and I think it really adds a lot to it. And something like this, always think of what you have around and what you can add to it. This part of it was what I had in the spring. I bought one of the orange, a little bit of height with this orange, and that brings it right into fall. So right now, I'm getting hungry, so let's talk dessert. And now for a Halloween favorite, you may remember the ghost in a graveyard. I'm not sure how old this picture is, but just tells you how much of a favorite that it actually is. So the actual recipe you can certainly find on just Googling it, or it is attached to the Facebook posting. So I've already made the pudding, which was very easy. It's the instant. And I'm simply going to add, next is going to be the Cool Whip. And while I'm mixing everything, I'll tell you a story about the Brocs. No, they haven't been recalled. But what happened was, when I went to find those, I said, what are the chances that this early I'm going to be able to find those particular ones? Other things can be substituted, but those really are a traditional way to go. So I found it next day on the news. What do they have? A whole segment about finding finding Halloween candy, and the fact that this year the manufacturers and the stores are putting it out much earlier, because the belief is that there won't be as many trick-or-treaters. There won't be the holiday parties, so they want the people to be able to get it and buy more earlier. This is the crunched up Oreo cookies. Half of it is going in now. On the helpful hint part of the recipe, it says that you can simply take them and put them into a Ziploc bag and take a rolling pin and crush it that way. I am telling you now that if you have a food processor, use the food processor. The food processor literally takes seconds. The crunching down with the actual bag and the rolling pin, just not worth it. So there's a helpful hint. So once all of this just gets mixed in, it's going to simply be putting it into the 9x13 pan, and all you're going to do is just want to keep making sure that you've got all of it combined like that. For some reason, this takes longer than it did to actually crush down those simple Oreo cookies. The size that they say amount to use isn't the size that it comes in. So as an extra bonus, you're going to have some extra Oreos left. Then all we have to do right now is, give me a second, we'll come back because it's going to take a little longer than I thought. Next up, just spread it in the pan. The other half of the crushed Oreos are going to go on top, obviously making it look like dirt for a graveyard. And after this, all that simply has to be done is to go into the refrigerator and give it about an hour to settle before the actual decorations go on. I was surprised to find out that the amount of, you know, the little peeps for Easter, we've been talking about Easter earlier, the amount of peeps, they come in now for almost every holiday. And for a while now, they've actually had the ghost peeps. So instead of doing, I'm gonna do a little later when this is finished, I'm gonna be doing the ghost made out of Cool Whip. But if you don't wanna take that on, it's very simple to just get a couple of that ghost and then stick them right in. And right now, we're ready for the refrigerator. So it's just come out of the refrigerator, been there for an hour, now it's time to decorate. First off, we've got the cookies that are gonna act as tombstones, and by simply putting some of the gel on, that's gonna be put right in there. The gel, which you can basically get at most grocery stores, had one of those little tips on the end of it that simply get cut off. What I did was I put a cutting board, put some paper towel on top of it, and just made a quick slice with a knife. Put the paper towel there so that the red food coloring wouldn't discolor it. Now, the object is to write very small. The gel's not as thin as you would think it would be. We're just gonna move this over here and see how easily that goes in. So, starting at the edge, just gonna give it, I don't think the boo comes out as well as the rest in peace. I don't know how I could make that any thinner. You could put anything you want on that. You could put people's initials, whatever you'd like. Next up is going to be the ghost. Again, I recommend those peeps, but if you simply take some of the Cool Whip and twist it around, then taking another spoon, dropping it down, giving it a little swirl on top. That's not one of my best ghosts. Again, do the peeps. But basically, if you wanted to just give it two little eyes, you could do that too. Sprinkle around, remember that mix. Those can go a little bit here, a little bit there, and then continue that for the rest of it and enjoy. And I have found a new way to make the mesh wreaths. First off, these are gonna be a total of 18 inches. For the wreath, you're gonna need 6 of these at the dollar store. And I just put a little mark here, it's just a plastic tablecloth, so that I don't have to keep measuring. The can holds it down. A lot of people have sort of a pre-measured surface. I don't, so we're gonna take the one that you want showing most. In the back, we're just gonna give quick, and each segment here is going to have 5 of these. In order to give it more of a staggered look, first one's gonna tie it up to the second one, then the third, back to the second, back to third, so 5 within that. And then I'm gonna take it to what I want showing in the front. And this is a simple, keep it as in the middle, and you're just going to take it and fold, keeping it like this to get there. And then look how nice that looks. I just take half a pipe cleaner and we'll twist it around tightly. And I do the tying to right to the back. If you want to put a lot of added ribbons and things like that, you would then bring it up to the front so that you could tie things on. But since I'm not doing that right now, I'm just simply taking this, I'm putting it through. You can start with the third or the second, whichever you want, and then twisting it around. And then, even though I'm gonna have 5 on that, you decide what you like in the thickness of it. And if you find that you're not exactly even, this actually does move up. So this is what it looks as it progresses. And here's the finished product. all I simply did was, after I had all of the mesh, is add some ribbon, make the bow, add a little embellishment, including the pumpkin, and in the middle, one of these signs, I just on the back did some hot glue to some little bit of, not really rope, and then attached it to the sides. So this is the way it ended up, and everything, with the exception of the little 2 things of Christmas ribbon, everything was from the dollar store. So enjoy, happy Halloween, and may the force be with you.